So in recent videos I've showed you how do you make this thing go faster. Basically looking at the graph, intercooler, Cyrus intercooler, and then the Unichip. But the bottom line is this thing needs to come to a stop. In this video I'm going to talk to you about what I did to improve the braking performance of the Fortuner. So when it comes to braking, there's a couple of things that comes into play. It's more than just your normal traffic driving, stop, drive, stop, drive. And that's something that became evident for me during my trip in Lesotho. So what I noticed there is, especially obviously on the downhills, is that you could not really rely on your brakes alone. You had to make use of engine braking because it is so steep. But in some cases you're already in second gear and you're almost starting to redline the vehicle on a downhill. So what you need to do is you need to start applying the brakes. Now it's not a once off, or it's for long periods at a time. And at the one spot where we stopped, we could actually smell the brakes. And to give you an idea what's happening there is that your brakes, your discs are getting extremely hot, and the standard ones can only take so much heat. And the next thing that's going to happen is that your brake fluid is going to start boiling. Now when your brake fluid starts boiling, it becomes a gas. What's a gas? It's compressible. So that means you will lose brake performance of your vehicle, which is something you don't really want. Now you can think about it. Now we start to add weight to the vehicle. We put on bigger tires, bull bars, adds a little bit of weight to it. Now we want to tow something. So that means that your brake system works harder than what it was initially designed to do. Now then you have a couple of options. What can you look at? Should you just replace it with what you have in there, or what options do you have? So I was, well, I won't call it lucky, but I was in a position that I had to replace the front brake pads anyway, so they were due for replacement. So I got my hands on the D-Line kit from PowerBrake. Now what this is, it's basically the same size discs that goes on there, and then new brake pads. Now what makes them different than your standard brake pads is basically it has better materials. You have another kit as well, they call it the X-Line kit, and in that kit I think you get a bigger or different design disc or rotor, and then also brake pads that goes with it. And what you also change is you change your calipers, so there's more pistons in there, so that means that the brake can push harder against the disc. Now in my case, the Fortuner is not that heavy a vehicle. I think your payload is something like 650 kg, so you're not going to load it up as much as you would, for instance, something like a Land Cruiser, where you put like more than a ton of stuff on the vehicle, which, okay, probably a lot of people are overweight, but that's not the point. But for my application, the discs that comes with the D-Line kit was more than good enough. Now the first thing when you put in these is the installation process. Now it's pretty simple. You basically take off the wheel, take off the old disc and the old patch you remove. But when you just need to check then is you need to make sure that the surface is clean where you're going to put on the new. So when it comes to the new disc, is that it can handle a higher temperature than what you would be able to do with your normal discs on the vehicle, the OEM discs. And how they are able to do this is they use better materials. The problem you still have is you still have the same brake fluid in your system. So the standard brake fluid is I think it's a .4 or something like that. And the suggestion then is to replace the standard brake fluid with something that's got a higher boiling point. So I will replace it with something, the M5.1 or the .5.1, and that has a boiling point of 275 degrees Celsius, so it will take longer for it to boil. So that brake fluid also has a higher viscosity and a higher boiling point. But the thing is, whoever went into a service and they told you, listen, we replaced brake fluid or we topped up brake fluid. I've not really noticed it, but I didn't really pay attention to it as well. But with this brake fluid I'm using now, it is something that you need to replace. I think once in 2 years you need to take out the brake fluid and put new brake fluid in. End of the day, you get better performance from your brakes. So very simple process, like we've seen now in terms of the installation. Take it off, put on new ones, and then you go. Now the next thing to remember with these is that these brakes has to be bedded in. So the thing with the power brakes is that you need a bedding in period. So what that involves is driving for a while. I think it's 250 kilometers or something like that, that you need to drive with them and only apply moderate pressure on the brakes when you press them. And yeah, that's just for everything to settle in nicely. But after that, you need to go out and then you need to drive up to, let's say, 120 kilometers per hour. And from there, I think it's 5 times or something like that, you need to brake really, really hard. And you'll actually start to smell the brakes during this process. That's effectively how you bed in the brakes. So something I want to do, what I didn't do in this video is, or earlier, is I just want to go through some of the technical aspects of the power brakes, and then also the brake fluid that I'm using. I feel I can maybe go a bit in more depth. So I'm just going to read through it, and then I will share this while you're watching this video. So if you just look at the brake discs and the pads, if you compare them to a standard product, the one is basically, it's the rotor diameter is exactly the same. It's just a part for part replacement, so no caliper modifications are needed, and it's easy bolt-on upgrade. Then the cooling efficiency, because it's a better material, the cooling efficiency will be better. For the D-line kit, it doesn't have a improved design in terms of the slots in it, whereas with the X-line you've got a different design of slot which improve the airflow. But it's a product that, or it's a rotor that gets rid of heat better. Then if you look at the maximum operating temperature, the normal brakes or the normal discs has a operating temperature of around 450 degrees. That's now based on what I could find online. So correct me if I'm wrong. And then with the power brakes, it can go up to 600 degrees. So what it says is it handles sustained heavy braking without loss effectively. And then just something on the initial bite, it's a soft, for the standard, it's a softer, more progressive, whereas on the power brakes, it's a stronger, more aggressive. So that means more immediate response when you press the pedal. In terms of pedal feel, what they say is it's softer under load for the Steiner brake pads and firmer and more consistent with the power brakes. So they say it's a confidence-inspiring feel, especially when loaded or towing. In terms of noise, I'm not talking about squeaking brakes. I'm saying when you apply the brakes. So normally the OEM brakes is very quiet, and with the power brakes there's a light whoosh under hard braking. And they say that's normal. The dust production, so the brake dust, is low with the standard brakes, but with the power brakes it's a moderate to high, so it's a bit more brake dust on the wheels due to higher friction material. In terms of maintenance and bedding in, which I've discussed already, with standard brakes it's minimal bedding in needed. And for the power brakes, it's critical that you have a bedding in procedure. They say if you skip the bedding in, it can cause vibration or uneven performance. It's an important step for you to take. And then in terms of cost, it's obviously standard brakes are a bit lower, whereas power brakes are higher price. I don't think it's that much more, but you must remember it's a performance product. So they say it is more expensive up front, but it adds performance and durability. Now, something which I have discussed is who's the target user, and for OEM pads and things like that and discs, it's the daily driving for moderate load, which I've discussed, and then the power brakes is more for towing, overlanding, and heavy load. So it's best suited for serious off-roaders or heavy duty applications, which basically I've said. Now, if we look at the brake fluid comparison, I also want to discuss that a bit more in depth. Again, I'm gonna read it for you. So if you look at something, there's like a boiling point, and for your standard brake fluid that comes with let's say with the Toyota Fortuner, they call it's a genuine .4 brake fluid, and then the one that I've replaced it with is the Motul .5.1. So the standard, or let's say the .4 has got a boiling point of 230 to 240 degrees C, whereas the .5.1 has a temperature of 272 degrees. So it's got a higher boiling point, which reduces the risk of vapor lock during long descents or towing, which I've said basically it comes to gas and then you lose your brakes. What you can also see is it's got to do with the viscosity. So I'm not going to give the real number. What they give here is 1,800 to 2,000 square millimeters per second for the .4, and then around 900 millimeters square, which is lower for the .5.1. So that means you've got faster ABS or ESC valve response in colder or emergency brakes. So it improves the braking power. Look, there's further things you can do as well. You can put braided disc lines, which helps that whereas if it's a rubber line, obviously the rubber will expand a bit, so not all the force go through the fluid to the brakes. Some of it get lost in the expansion of the pipes, if you call it as such. With braided lines, you don't have that problem. The problem is moisture absorption. So for the .4, they say it's moderate, and then with the .5.1, it's a slightly higher. It means more frequent replacement to maintain performance. Now, if you look at the change intervals, which is typical or recommended, so typically they say Toyota should replace the brake fluid every 2 years. Maybe it's true. I've never seen that they replace brake fluid. Maybe they top it up or something. Maybe I've missed it on a service, but maybe good to find out. And then with the .5.1, they recommend replace it every 18 to 24 months. So, yeah, also maybe a good idea just to replace brake fluid every 2 years in general. Which they also say compatibility. The .4 is obviously compatible with the OEM seals, and the .5.1 is fully compatible with .4, so there's no modifications needed, so it's safe to use in your original braking system. In terms of price, again, the standard brake fluid will be a lower price, whereas the .5.1 will be higher because it's an improved product. But so it's a higher cost, but a higher performance that you get. Use case the same as what I've mentioned for the brakes. For the .4 or the standard brake fluid is for normal driving, moderate towing, and then the .5.1 is for heavy towing, highlight braking, and again, best suited for off-roading or frequent long descents. So it basically, the problems I had is what the brake pads and new brake discs, as well as the new brake fluid addresses. So yeah, I hope you've found this technical information useful. This is what I could gather from what's online. So if you have any comments on that, put it below. But I think it's quite interesting to see the difference between the two products. Okay, so now you've bedded in your brakes and you're driving, and what's the benefits? What changes did I feel? I think the first thing is obviously that your brake performance is better, you stop quicker. I can see when the cars in front of me brake, and then I can wait a bit longer before I brake. They also say it's got a better bite, so it grips the rotor better. So you have improved brake performance, and what I mean by that is you have a reduction in the stopping distance. Now, that's maybe not the biggest thing, although it helps that you can stop in a shorter distance. The other thing that's quite important is that your brake fade is less. So what I mean with brake fade is if you continuously accelerate brake, with your standard brakes, they will fade a lot quicker. And what I mean by that is when you press your brake, when you apply the brake, you will feel, listen, the vehicle does not want to brake as well as like for the first one. Whereas with the improved brakes, you will have less brake fade. So if you do 5 stops with your standard brakes, let's say drive up to a certain speeds, let's say up to 80 kilometers, brake hard and stop, and you measure all those distances, it will be shorter for the upgraded power brake kit. Is it something that I would recommend? Based on what I'm feeling with the vehicle, it's definitely something I would consider, especially if you look at bigger tires, extra weight that you put in front of the vehicle. At the end of the day, it makes the vehicle safer. Now, a couple of things that I've heard before is they say that the power brakes are noisy. Now, you must remember it is a heavy duty product. It's not a product that was made for you to drive to work and back. Well, you can do it, but to sit in traffic. These brakes wants to be worked hard. So if you drive in traffic a lot of the time, it's almost as if there's like a film that was applied on the disc when you did your bedding in that hard brakes. Now, if you drive slowly in traffic, you basically take off that film, let's call it a film layer that's on the discs. So that means your brakes will start to squeal and squeak. So what you need to do then is to go out and just do a couple of those hard stops again to get that film back on. So far, I don't have any problems with it, but remember, I don't drive with this vehicle every day to work and back, so it's maybe a good thing. And that's where the power brakes fits in perfectly. It's a vehicle that needs to work for me from a 4x4 point of view. I need to tow a caravan. I need to drive with heavier tires on there. So for me, it's a product that really makes sense. But yeah, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments below, and I will see if I can get back to you, make a follow-up video, or feel free to ask those questions on the 4x4 community page.